Who doesn't love chocolate? And who doesn't love some good old-fashioned fat burning? I'm gonna give you a ketogenic-friendly chocolate recipe that's a peppermint mocha chocolate fat bomb. It's actually more like a candy bar. You're gonna make this sugar-free, totally awesome candy bar that's totally good to go when you're on a ketogenic diet. Having a new kid in the house, I'm really into spending some family time lately, which means I've spent a little bit more time in the kitchen with my wife, cooking up all kinds of things and experimenting with different things. Now, you know me, I'm always bringing you the science. So I've got the science on every single ingredient that is in this awesome chocolate fat bomb recipe. So let's just get right to it. Okay, first thing we've got exactly 1 tablespoon of coconut oil. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get this cooking up here. The reason we're using the coconut oil, those of you that watch my videos know this, is simply because of the medium chain triglycerides that are in it. Medium chain triglycerides go straight to the liver and get converted into acetoacetyl coenzyme A, which means that it can pass through into the mitochondria and get utilized for energy a lot easier. So when you're in ketosis, you want these MCTs. They help you burn fat a lot faster and they give you energy. But coconut oil also has what's called lauric acid in it, which converts into something known as monolaurin. Again, those of you that watch my videos a lot know that I'm always talking about the digestive benefits of monolaurin and how it feeds that good bacteria, that gram-positive bacteria within your gut. So I just want to get that melted down a little bit. Make sure the heat's on nice and low now. And I've got exactly 1 tablespoon of that, remember. And then I've got some unsweetened 100% cacao, okay? So it's totally unsweetened baking chocolate. Do not get semi-sweet. It has to be unsweetened. This is absolutely imperative, okay? I'm using Ghirardelli. It doesn't really matter which brand you use. I'll start the melting process, okay? Let that start getting down. Okay, the reason that I'm using the dark chocolate is because it has certain things that are called epicatechins. And what these are is flavonoids that actually send specific signals to your brain. They can cross through the blood-brain barrier and help reduce brain inflammation. So when you're in ketosis, sometimes you get that little fog. The reason that we're using this chocolate is because when you're in ketosis, sometimes you get that fog. And the whole idea here is to help you boost the mood, help you get through that brain inflammation, get through that fogginess. So we've got some specific things in here known as phenylethylamine and anandamide. That's a mouthful to say, but what they do is they actually induce euphoria within the brain. So they actually help you feel really good. They release endorphins. You hear people say that chocolate releases endorphins all the time, but actually it stimulates the production of endorphins because of that phenylethylamine. Okay, so now that this is mixing up, that's almost melted. I don't want to let it go too hot, so I'm going to remove it from the heat for a minute while I add these other ingredients because I'm talking your ear off as I'm making this. Okay, so now the next thing that I'm going to go ahead and add is I'm going to add exactly 1/8 of a cup of macadamia nuts, okay? Now, the macadamia nuts are really interesting because not only do they contain omega-9 acid, but the omega-9 fatty acid is going to help you utilize the omega-3s that are already existing in the macadamia nuts. Let me turn this heat off really quick. So you have a perfect balance of omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids in the macadamia nuts, plus the omega-9 that they contain, which helps your body utilize the omega-3s. I hope that that makes sense. Basically, you've got 2 fats, one is good, one is bad, and then you've got a 3rd fat that's letting the good fat be used. Maybe you don't have to pay attention, just take my word for it. Macadamia nuts are good. Okay, now before this starts to set up, I want to add just a couple drops of peppermint oil. Now here's the big thing here. Okay, I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoops. Okay, a little bit extra peppermint oil in that one, but it's not going to hurt. So here's the idea behind peppermint oil. Peppermint oil does some amazing things with your bile. It actually increases the production of bile. It's been used in a lot of cases to actually help calm the stomach muscles, but I want to use it for the sake of how it helps your body produce more bile. Why is that important? Because you are using bile when you are in ketosis. You're producing a lot of bile. Your liver and your gallbladder are cranking bile out like crazy to break down all the fats that you're consuming. So peppermint oil has a proven track record of helping you do that. Plus, it's nice and festive. It's going to make this stuff taste good. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add just enough stevia to make it taste good. You can add however much you feel like you need to. I've done this a time or two, so I usually add about 1/2 tablespoon of that. Go ahead and mix that up in there. You can kind of get the gist of what we're doing. We're making a sugar-free chocolate just by melting it all down. I'm going to put this back on heat here in just a second. Okay, now is where we get to the fun part. I'm going to go ahead and add some pink Himalayan salt. Everyone likes salted chocolate, right? Now, we have a good reason for doing this, especially with a ketogenic diet. The reason we're adding salt, you're usually depleted in sodium when you are on a ketogenic diet. When you're depleted in sodium, it makes it so your muscles don't function very well. You need the sodium-potassium balance all the time. And since your kidneys tend to drop a lot more water when you're in ketosis, you're losing that sodium, you're losing that potassium, you're losing that magnesium. Now, chocolate has a lot of minerals to begin with, but it does not have a lot of sodium. So I went ahead and went liberal with the salt there. I added quite a bit. Okay, now I add just a little bit of mint leaf. Now I'm going to add more to it when I'm done, but I want some of the oils from the mint to get out into the chocolate here. Now, the benefits of mint leaf itself are the exact same as the peppermint oil. So we're still getting the digestive benefits, we're still getting the actual bile benefits here. Now, the fun part. I'm gonna add a couple tablespoons of good old-fashioned cold brew concentrate. Don't dilute it with the water like you do when you actually make it. Go ahead and just add however much you would like to add. I'm gonna go like 2-3 good tablespoons, maybe even a little bit more. I like the taste of coffee. Here's the thing with cold brew. 30% more caffeine than regular coffee, but without the acidity. 67% less acidity. What does that mean? That means you're not gonna mess up your teeth. It's a lot easier on your stomach, and it's a lot easier for your body to synthesize. And turn the heat back on for a second. But what's interesting is you see after I added the cold brew, the magic started to happen. It started to thicken up. That's simply because we're having a little bit of an enzymatic activity between the cocoa and the actual coffee there, which is exactly what we want as long as we don't let it burn. If you've watched my pizza recipe before, you saw that I burned the pizza. I promise I'm not gonna burn the chocolate, okay? So we're in good shape here. Mix that up, turn that heat off. Another interesting thing about the chocolate is it's been studied and it's been shown in the Journal of Atherosclerosis to actually reduce fasting blood sugar. So that means they took diabetic patients and they found that when they consumed dark chocolate compared to white chocolate, they actually reduced their fasting glucose levels, which means it didn't just have an immediate effect, it had an effect the next day and the day after that and the day after that on their overall fasted glucose levels when they wake up. That means it's tremendous for blood sugar. Now here's the cool thing. Here's what I've got here, okay? This is not traditional plastic, BPA-free plastic that can withstand heat. You can use metal trays, you can use whatever you want. I like to use ice trays because this is gonna make it nice and even. Now all I'm gonna do here, is go ahead, just like I'm making ice cubes. The reason I do this is because it makes perfect little bite-sized fat bombs. By the time this is done, just so that you guys know, there's gonna be about 140 calories in each bite. So if you were to spread this out over 6 of these bites, you're gonna have between 140 and 150 calories depending on how liberal you went with the nuts, how liberal you went with the oil. But if you follow this the way that I described it, that's about where you're gonna end up. Might have let it cook a little too long because it should fit pretty close to even, but it all depends on the size of the ice tray that you use. Doesn't have to be perfect, okay? What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make this look nice and pretty, put a little bit of mint on it so that when I pull it out of the freezer, it's gonna look nice. And then I'm also gonna put a little bit of some coarse pink Himalayan salt right on the top. Again, who doesn't like salted chocolate? And we are in business. I'm gonna put that in the freezer. And that's gonna sit for about 10 minutes. Now, while that's sitting, let me give you a quick explanation of ketosis if you don't already know what it is, because a lot of people hit Google and they start searching for fat bomb recipes without knowing what the ketogenic diet is. So if you already know what ketosis is, you can skip ahead for about 1 minute where I'll show you the finished product. But for those of you that wanna learn, here it goes. The ketogenic diet is when your body is no longer utilizing glucose as a source for fuel. You've deprived yourself of carbohydrates, so your body begins utilizing fats as a source of fuel. That's awesome because here's what happens. You get your body to use dietary fat as a fuel source. Then when you do deprive it of dietary fat, like in the periods between meals, your body has no choice but to start utilizing your stored body fat because that's what it's used to. In a sense, it's become spoiled and it gets used to using fat. So the second you're not eating fat, it has no choice but to take fat from your body and burn it. That's the beauty of ketosis. Now, some of the other benefits obviously include the reduction in inflammation and the fact that you're utilizing something that's more calorically dense. You have a lot more energy. So it's perfect for someone that's got a busy lifestyle, that doesn't want to be sitting down eating big meals all the time, that just wants to eat good tasting food, feel good, and have the mental benefits as well. So those should be done in just a couple of minutes. So while we're flash forwarding, enjoy this little entertainment from my dog. Okay, so these look just about done, and here's the whole idea, is by putting them in an ice tray like this, they should just pop right out. So there we have it. We have some ketogenic friendly truffles that are super low carb. We're talking about 3 to 4 carbs in each piece at the absolute most, depending on what brand of chocolate that you use. We're talking about 140 to 160 calories per bite, and they're not gonna kick you out of ketosis. The endorphins are gonna help you feel good. The MCTs from the coconut oil are gonna help you burn a little bit more fat and help your gut biome. The stevia is going to help you out in a lot of different ways and actually help you expel extra sodium from your kidneys. And then we've also got the salt that's gonna allow you to retain sodium in the right places that you typically deplete when you're in ketosis. We've got the cold brew that's gonna help you burn fat. And we've got the peppermint oil that's gonna allow you to produce a little bit more bile, that's gonna allow you to digest fats that much easier. So here we go.